and just the way you map it out, it really helps the thinking process. So one of the things we need to determine is if overtime exists. We have the actual hours worked for that day, and we have the maximum hours that you can work for a day before it's overtime. So we got this logical node which says GT, which means greater than, and what it's saying is the actual hours greater than the maximum hours per day? So if it is greater, it's going to give you a check mark, meaning it's true. If it's not greater, it's going to give you the false sign. So we just change it to 7, and you'll notice that 7 is not greater than 8. Change it to 8. 8 is not greater than 8, so it's still false. Change it to 9. 9 is greater than 8, so it becomes true. So now I'm getting this if node. This if node basically determines if the condition is true with the first input. If that condition is true, which means 9 is greater than 8, or if that condition is false, which is 7 is not greater than 8, the if node result will be affected by the greater than node. So if it's true, then, which is the second input of this if node, then we use the overtime rate. Otherwise, we use the normal pay rate. I just realized that this this multiply rate node is useless, so I'm just going to delete it. So what I want to do now is I want to calculate the actual amount of overtime. So I'm going to get a minus node, and basically I'll call this calculate overtime. So all I'm going to do is take the actual hours, connect it to the minus node, and subtract the maximum hours before you reach the overtime. So you'll notice when I change the actual hours, the amount of overtime will change accordingly. Also, you'll notice that the overtime will also automatically, the true or false and the if node will change automatically as the actual hours change. So now I'm going to do the regular hours, which is simply the actual hours minus the overtime hours. But you'll notice later that this can cause some error, which is where we'll have to use the logical if node and the greater than node.